Hi everyone! Today I'm going to show you how to add the features to your Bitty Pig. So you can see here I have one that's already finished. I thought it would be helpful to kind of see what we're aiming for. So the Bitty Pig, you have to sew the ears on, the snout on, and put the eyes in the correct place. So I've got a head that's finished here, I have 2 ears, and I have my snout. So I'm going to show you how to put all this together. I also have my darning needle with some embroidery thread and then some pins just to help with placement. So I'm going to start out with my snout, and you're just going to make 2 tiny lines on the snout. So I like to go just outside of the magic circle, so you can see it's kind of in between the first and second rounds. So I'll make 1 line just like that, and then go across to the other side and make another tiny line. All right, just like that. Then you're going to want to tie off the ends in the back. Making sure not to catch your tail like I did. All right, there we go. So tie that off in the back, and then you can cut the yarn, or I'm sorry, cut the embroidery thread, and you will have your snout ready to go. Grab some scissors. All right, so then you've got your snout ready to go here. You can, it looks like my one snout line has disappeared a little bit after tying it off. You can loosen it up. Sometimes I tie too tightly, so you can kind of use your needle to pull it back up so that it shows again. And you can kind of play around with them like that. So there we go. All right, so then let's start with the snout, sewing that on. That'll be a good starting place. So you can see on this finished pig, I have the snout right here. It starts at the top of round 6. So I count down from the center of the head. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So it is right at the bottom of row 6 and the top of row 7. And it's going to span about 3 or 4 rows there. So I'm going to take my nose, and I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to count down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I'm going to have my nose right about there, and I'm going to use pins to hold that in place. Because I don't have any other features on yet, I don't really have to make sure my nose is centered. That's why I think it's kind of an easy one to start with. But you do want to make sure that it's at the right spot. So 2, 4, 6. All right, so then once we have that pinned in place, then I will just start to sew around the snout. You can take the pins out as you go, especially if they start to get in your way. I like to periodically pull it tightly just to make sure that I'm getting it nice and secure, nice and tight onto the head. You can add all of these features before you've closed the head. I did not do that this time around. I had my head already stuffed and cinched up, but you can stop along the process of making the head and sew all of this stuff on before you close it, if that's easier. All right, so you can go around again if you want to. I'm not going to in this tutorial, but if you feel like it needs to be extra secure on there, then you can do that. But once you have it sewed all the way around, then you are just going to tie off. And then just weave that end in. And then if you have not closed up the head, you can leave your tail inside the head. If you have a closed up head like I do, then you can just cut that tail off. So I'll snip that there. And then next I'm going to do the eyes. I have a very tiny piece of embroidery thread left, so I'm hoping that it's going to work. So to make the eyes, we're going to do an upside down V across 2 rows. It's going to be across rows 6 and 7. So I like to have the inside of the eye almost touching the snout. So I'm going to start off to the side. Again, it's this part is definitely easier if you do it before the head is closed, but I just didn't do that this time. So I'm going to start off to the side. And I've gone in towards the nose. I'm going to go up those 2 rows. And then I'm going to come back out. I leave about 2 stitches, 2.5 stitches between the eyes. So I'm going to come back out right here. You can see I've got like 2.5 stitches there. And then I'm going to go ahead and just go straight over to the other side and do the same thing. I'm not going to have enough embroidery thread left to finish this, but you would just do the same thing, make an upside down V like that. So let me pull this out and I'll show it again, since I don't have enough to do both sides. All right, so again, I'm going to start off to the side over here. If you had the head still open, you could start from inside the head, but I'm going to come up right here next to the snout, pull my thread through. I'm going to go up 2 rows, and then I'm going to come out about 2.5 stitches over. And then I would go back into the head, and ideally come back out over here so that I could make the other make the other eye over on the other side. Like that. So I have 1.5 eyes. So then you would just tie off the ends, and you could either leave them inside the head or weave them in if you need to. So once you have the eyes placed, then you're going to do the ears. And so the ears just go on either side of the head, centered right on top. So I have them about 2 rows down. I'm just going to sew on one for this video. I do like to use pins to help with the placement of the ears. I think that it helps visualize what you're going for. So I'll put a pin on this edge and on the other edge. And then I'll do the same thing with the other one. And then this will help give you an idea if you like where you're putting them. I like to put them pretty close towards the center of the head. You could move them out a little bit if you wanted to, but it just helps to give you an idea of what their final placement is going to be. So I'm going to do this one over here. So once I've got the pins where I want them, I will just go straight across the bottom of the ear. So I'm just going around the stitch in the head, and then going through the stitches in the last row of the ear. Just like this. And then same thing, if you want to, you can go back across again, kind of like the snout. If you want to go around twice to make sure that it's extra secure, you can do that. But if not, or after you do that, then you can just tie off and then weave those ends in. And again, if the head is open, you can just pull them inside the head. If not, then you can weave them into a round. So that's the basic gist of it. I'm sorry I didn't have enough to finish that eye, but this is what it'll look like when it's finished. You'll have 2 little ears, your eyes, and a nose. So I hope that's helpful. If you have any questions, then always feel free to reach out to me.